TJ Klay is an American musician best known as a highly regarded harmonica player, often specializing in rack-mounted harp techniques, a singer-songwriter, and a multi-instrumentalist with his roots in country rock and blues and rock genres. He gained early prominence as an original member of the 1990s country rock band Western Flyer. That group released 2 albums and scored 4 hit singles, produced 3 CMT, that's country music television videos, and made around 10 TV appearances during their run. After Western Flyer, TJ pursued a solo career and session work. He's a longtime endorsed artist for Hohner Harmonica, going on 30 years now. And his session credits include contributions to various albums and CDs and commercial jingles for brands like Hardee's, McDonald's, Coors Light, Jack Daniels, Boogaboo Creek, Tonka Toys, and a bunch of others. He has released solo material, including the album Heart of Klay around 2007, which features 14 tracks blending heartfelt songwriting and his signature harmonica, mandolin, guitar, and vocal work. Examples of songs include Back in America, Somewhere Between, and 40-something years, as well as Don't Lose Heart. His music is often described as genuine, connecting emotionally and appealing with a wide audience. TJ is celebrated in harmonica communities for his tone, his rack playing, that's using the neck rack for hands-free performance while playing his guitar or other instruments, and performances at SPAH conventions, that's the Society for the Preservation and Advancement of the Harmonica, as well as at NAMM shows, NAMM, that's the National Association of Music Merchants. He maintains an official website at tjklay.com where you can find his biography, his discography, tour dates when he's active, and more. He's also active on platforms like Facebook, Spotify, AllMusic, and in backing tracks libraries. Overall, TJ has built a respected career as a versatile Nashville area musician, blending country, rock, and blues influences while excelling particularly on the harmonica. And I'm very proud to have my good friend TJ Klay with me here in the studio today. Here we are.
Man,
It's been a long time. So how did you like your introduction?
man, I can't wait to meet me. I'm excited.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my good friend TJ Klay. And TJ and I have known each other going on 50 years now. What do you think of that?
Time flies when you're
Yeah.
having all kinds of fun. You
Man,
know?
I remember being very young and thinking someday I'm going to be 50. Now,
Try 70 on.
yeah. Well,
Gosh.
you're a little older than I am, not but about 2 or 3 years. And I just thought before we tell your life story, which is an amazing career in the music industry that you've had. Before we do that, I just want to talk real quickly about how you and I met and why you and I have been good friends for 50 years. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
You were, much as I was, you were accepted into this company, Young American Showcase, put together rock and roll bands that toured all over North America, 3 shows a day, 10 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Just a grueling way of life. But for a young man who's playing rock and roll, that was okay. I mean,
It was like going to college for entertainment.
it was the musical Marines, a lot of
Yes.
people call it, you know. But excuse me just a second. I had actually auditioned the year before and didn't get in. And I was a local boy to where the company was in St. Petersburg, Florida. You, on the other hand, you're from Hull, Iowa, right?
Population 1,800.
Which is bigger than this little town right here where I live now, just by this much. But you heard about Showcase and you did the audition, you got accepted. They were always long distance auditions. They did it over the phone. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And you'd send pictures and all that. And then that's back in the day because it was the 70s. There was no internet, nothing like that. So that's how it was done. And we were all Christians. They would advertise in CCM Christian, contemporary Christian music magazine to get recruits to come in and do this.
Yeah.
That company lasted for 22 years, like 1970 to like 1992, doing that same thing. And then grunge music kind of killed it. The kids didn't really dig what we were doing anymore. So, but man, what a career we had. You did 2 tours. You and I-
77, 78 school year, and then 78, 79.
Right. And you and I ended up being in the same band the first year. I was brought in a week after your band was put together by the company because they fired the drummer. And so they decided to give me a shot at it after I had not made it the year before, which was a misunderstanding, by the way. I'll always cling to that. But, and we got together, and long story short, it was an interesting tour. You know, we played all over the place, started in Pennsylvania, did a lot in Canada, London, Toronto.
I think we spent about 6 weeks in Toronto in the middle of the winter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Played every high school in about a 50-mile radius.
Yeah, and we never played the inner city schools.
Yeah.
We played all the suburbs, all the periphery around the big cities, because you couldn't get into the inner city schools because they were too tough. You know, the kids were too so we never played the inner city schools. Anyway, now you had the unusual circumstance of getting out there on the road, and we're rocking and rolling, and we're playing the shows for the kids. And we played shows in high schools, by the way. And you broke your leg.
Second week of a 9-month tour.
Second week. Just quickly describe how it was you broke your leg.
We had, besides the music, we had some comedy stuff that we were doing.
Right.
And we did a Star Wars skit.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd get up, we'd say, who's the rough and tough athlete?
Right. We would pick kids out of the audience that would play parts in the skit that we were doing.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I had to go out and get the rough and tough athlete guy.
Okay.
And he's sitting in the balcony. And I get up there, and he didn't want to come. And the guy next to him says, hey, I'm going to grab his legs. You grab him under his arms.
Yeah.
And we proceeded to carry him down the stairs. And the guy that had his legs, he gets all the way down to the bottom of the stairs, and he lets go. But I'm still on the 4th step, and this guy falls right on my feet, and I fall over the top of him. And when I peel my face off the gym floor, my left foot is on backwards.
Oh.
And so, being as merciful as you guys were, y'all picked me up and set me on the drum riser, and I played the rest of the show.
Finished the show. Hey, man, it was 1977.
Yeah,
Rub some dirt on it, buddy. Are you a tough guy or not? Are you a wuss? Are you going to start crying? No, man. We finished the show, baby.
Yep. And I ended up spending 3 or 4 days in the hospital, a week back in the hotel room.
What did we do while you were in the hospital? What
would you
do for a bass player?
I don't think you had one.
Did we play without bass for?
I think so.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And then when I came back a week after that, they set me on a chair on the drum riser. So I had your cymbals like right in my ear.
Well, you had your own riser. Didn't you? Didn't you have your own riser?
They maybe slid it right next to yours, but I think it was level.
Yeah.
So it was.
You were level with me on the drum riser, and you were over here in a chair, and you were just getting fed cymbals all the time.
What? Huh?
And you were in that chair for what, 3 months?
6 weeks up on the chair, and then on a stool. The rest of the time till Christmas.
Yeah.
And so they'd introduce the band all the way from St. Petersburg, Florida. Put your hands together for free fare. You guys come running out. And here I come crutching out.
Yeah.
My bass is leaning up against the stool. And by the time I get situated, the first song's almost over.
Yeah.
You know?
Which was what? I think it was Shouted Out Loud by Kiss.
Yeah.
I think that was the opening song. And,
man.
And you might think the story ends there. But it doesn't. All right. Now I'll be real honest with you. That band was a great band. We had a lot of fun, but it was kind of an ego infested band, and that was not your fault. You were the most humble guy in the band.
It's hard to be cocky when you're on crutches.
We had kind of a hard guy manager, Tom Miller. Your name was Tom.
Yeah.
And nobody ever called you TJ.
Oh, no. We had 3 Toms, 2 Marks, and a Marty.
You had 3 Toms until I replaced one
Yes.
in rehearsal camp, right?
And Linda Miller.
Linda was
trying
Tom
to think
Miller's
of it.
wife.
Right.
We traveled. The manager had his wife. We traveled together. And she was always a real cheerleader.
She was trying to think of a name for one of the other Marks.
Yeah.
And says, let's just call him something easy like, I don't know, TJ.
Yeah.
And I went, hey, those are my initials.
Yeah.
Okay, TJ Klay, one Tom out of the way there.
And you've been TJ Klay ever since.
Yeah.
So it just happened that day in the rehearsal room.
Yeah.
And they put your name on the poster and everything, TJ Klay and everything.
I think the very first poster, it might have been Tom.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. Anyway, so we go on Christmas break, 2 weeks off, and we all fly back in. Where do we come back into?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay.
Henry VIII Motor Lodge, I think.
Yeah.
On Lindbergh Boulevard.
Uh-huh.
Which it's no longer there. I was in St. Louis for a harmonica convention about 3-4 years ago, and I went by there, and it's
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we played, and we were playing in St. Louis, and I'm not sure where all we went and all that, but what happened, TJ?
2 weeks before the tour was over, we were on our way to the night show, and on the leg that had been broken, my ankle just twisted, and I fell forward and hit the top of my foot against the next step, and broke 2 more bones in the
foot,
in the top of my foot.
Yeah.
And
So it was.
did that show?
There was another cast,
Uh,
or did they just wrap it?
I think they put it in a boot.
Yeah, it was a boot. That's right.
Um,
But you were back. You were back on a chair, weren't you?
yeah.
Or a stool?
The
or
next
something.
morning, okay, we had to get up and go do a show.
Yeah.
And at the first school, we had 2 shows back to back,
Yeah.
and then an afternoon show.
Right.
So I ended up playing a total of 4 shows with unattended broken bones.
Oh man.
And then they brought me to the hospital and came back for the evening show with another cast on my leg.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to say this.
I just remember seeing you like that, and the rest of us just going, "Oh, not again!" Ah. Yeah.
And Larry Smith was our manager the next morning. He's got to call the office and say what happened.
Right.
And honest to God, Lowell answered this phone and says, "Well, hey, Larry, what's going on? TJ break his leg again?" Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Those are the days, man. And not to belabor this too much, because I want to get into your life story, and that's what people are here for, because you've had an incredible life story. But so we didn't end on the best of terms. I was arrogant. You were humble. I was just, I looked like I was about 15 years old, and I thought, my shit didn't stink. And it was just, we had a couple of guys in the band like that. It wasn't just me. And so we kind of parted ways, and kind of like, I'm kind of glad that's over. And I wasn't going to come back. I wasn't planning to come back for another tour. I went to work in my future wife's father's box factory. And after a summer doing that, I was begging them to take me back. And
I was planning on.
back. Yeah,
I was going to come back, and then they informed me at the last minute that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And the truth is, they were scared that I was going to get hurt again.
Yep.
after breaking my leg twice.
Well, they also had a deal with somebody else. Like he and his brother were.
Yeah.
If he was coming in, he had to take his brother, and so they bumped
And his brother
you.
played bass.
They bumped you, but apparently that didn't work out, did it?
No.
No. So I just want to say quick, because I don't want to belabor it. I just want to say that apparently that band that they put together, that with Mike Agello as a manager, Corey Flea, Tony Sellers, Greg Hind, apparently the bass player and the drummer didn't work out. So they called you and they called me. And I remember them saying to me, there's only one thing, you're going to be in a band with TJ again. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. And they called
said the
you and
same
said,
thing. And one catch here. You're going to have to work with Stan. And then Lowell goes on to explain, and I go, no problem. I'll do it.
well, when it came down to working with you again or making boxes, I'm working with TJ Klay. So anyway,
And
we had a great tour that
we
year.
did.
Great tour.
God just welded our hearts together.
Absolutely.
And
we became great friends that year. We had a mutual nemesis in the band, which I won't name any names, but things came to a head after a while, and then things got better. But we had a great tour. We had the unbelievable Corey Fleeg on lead guitar and vocals.
Greg
Tony
Hind
Sellers,
yeah.
Greg Hind, who is still
Keyboards.
friends to this day, as is Corey to this day. And man, we had a great tour. We played a lot of fun music.
When we did Kansas stuff,
we
sounded like Kansas.
Oh, we did?
We did Pablo Cruz. I remember
Oh,
Corey singing the heck out of someone. Someone's done you
Yep.
wrong. And
Yep.
whatever we did, we sounded like the record.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely. In fact, I'm just going to say it, out of how many bands that year? 6 bands, I think they had that year.
we got picked to go to the NAMM show.
We were the band that was picked to go to the NAMM show, National Association of Music Merchants. And we ended up playing in a big show for a sold-out audience called the Guitars of Gibson. And it was...
First annual of Evening with Gibson show.
Evening with Gibson, right.
I still have a program from that show.
And we opened the show, and then we were followed by some of the most famous guitar players.
Howard Roberts Quartet.
Howard Roberts Quartet.
Mike Elliott and the Guitars of Gibson.
Yep.
Larry Carlton Quartet.
Larry Carlton Quartet and
Les Paul.
Les Paul. Yeah, man.
We were going to get to meet him, and he had a guy standing there. When you shake his hand, don't shake it hard because he can't move his arm. He broke his arm in a car accident, and they had to permanently set it.
Who?
Les Paul.
Oh, my gosh.
And so his arm was permanently set so he could play.
Yeah.
I think what a pain just to put a jacket on or a long sleeve shirt.
So, again, long story short, the tour ended, and that was it.
Yep.
And I didn't see you again for many, many years.
Yeah.
You went your own way. And
that's when I moved to Nashville.
Yeah. You moved to Nashville.
In 1979.
Right? 1979.
I wanted to work with a gospel rock and roll singer named Randy Matthews.
Well, let's hold it right there.
Okay.
Let's go back to Hull, Iowa. So, Steve Martin famously said, "I was born a poor black child," and now your story's a little different, but you had a very interesting childhood. Why don't you go back to Hull, Iowa, and talk about what happened there?
I was adopted when I was 3 months old, and both my sisters were adopted as well. And got my first guitar in 6th grade. My first instrument was actually trombone in the 5th grade band.
Gosh, I have a similar story. Go ahead.
And got my friend, the late Perry Raymond. We probably met in Sunday school 2 or 3 years before kindergarten, and grew up together. Got guitars together in 6th grade. Had a little folk group in high school, and we'd win talent shows singing Simon and Garfunkel songs.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to I wanted to be a lead guitar player. And so besides the Beatles, my early influences were Creedence and the Guess Who and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There was a band that I used to go see that I was not a good enough player to be in the band, but they let me come to the rehearsals and jam with them after they were done rehearsing. And that band breaks up, and the guitar player calls me and says, "Hey, our band broke up, and I'm putting together a new thing. It's going to be a trio, just guitar, bass, and drums, and we need a bass player. Are you interested?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to be in a real band." To me, a real band was one that was going to go out and play gigs and more than, little talent show things. And he says, "Well, if you're serious about it, I'll work with you. I got a bass and an amp you can use." And so we started working up stuff, a lot of trio stuff, ZZ Top and some Stones and just 3-chord rock and roll.
Yep.
And then a month or so we were out playing gigs. And now this was a big stink because
How old were you at the time in that band?
17,
Okay.
18.
Okay.
My first couple years out of high school, that band was kind of getting off the ground, but I was working some construction.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to not do the construction anymore and get to the point where I could be a full-time musician. Now, that's hard to do in a town of 1,800 people when you got to drive 50 miles to even see a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a grocery store that went out of business called the Beehive, and this guy bought it and remodeled it and turned it into a nightclub. And we worked a deal with him where if we could keep our equipment there and rehearse there at night while they were just remodeling the place. And he said, "Yep, we can do that. The only condition is that when I have my grand opening, you guys got to play for free." Okay, we can do that.
Fair deal.
Now, this was quite a big stink because this Christian Reformed church kid is now playing at the local nightclub.
Playing tush and stuff like that. Yeah.
And that didn't really go over too well.
No, I guess not.
And but shortly after there, that band broke up. The band was called Marlowe, and that band broke up. And I auditioned for another a band that had a record out and kind of played all over the Midwest from Des Moines, Iowa, called Red Pony.
Bass guitar again?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Red Pony.
Yep. And that band was in the process of breaking up, so we only did a few gigs. But I did officially get into the band.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
So I kind of got out of playing for a little bit and took a job at an Easter Seal camp, working with handicapped kids.
Like as a counselor or what?
Well, I had started working for the school system in Des Moines, Iowa, at a school for emotionally disturbed kids. And I was a teacher's aide. I prayed for a job. Everybody else doing what I did had a degree in all this. I never even went to college.
Right. Right.
So it was amazing how I even got in there.
Sure.
And then I decided I didn't want to do that, so I was going to work for a different school with handicapped kids.
Mm-hmm.
And just to get a induction into that, I took a job at this Easter Seal camp. And halfway through the summer, the guy running the thing says, "Hey, your dad called," and asked if you'd call home. I thought, "Oh man, this don't sound good. What's the deal?" And so I called my dad, and he says, "Well, there's this guy from Florida. He called, and they want to talk to you about being in a band." And I thought, I better call them, and it was Lance Hebert.
Lance Hebert, who I hope is listening to this right now, and who I want to get on here to do his life story because it's equally as fascinating.
And so I thought, well, if I'm ever going to get back into playing, this is a good thing. So I split from the Easter Seal camp, which kind of made them mad, but I was off and running.
So after Showcase, then after Young American
Yes.
Showcase, your two full tours of that, you went to Nashville. Now, somewhere along the way, you picked up the harmonica, and this became a thing for you. And honestly, in the music industry, you are well known as a harp player. When did that start breaking for you? When did you start realizing this was your calling to do this?
I kind of dabbled one out of high school. Even when we played together in the Free Fair band, I'd messed around with one little
I
bit.
recall we did. I think you played one
Yeah.
song on harp, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like utterly remarkable or anything like that. But
It wasn't?
no, but
Okay.
but it was something new and fun in the
Yeah.
show. Oh, look, this guy plays harmonica, right? But then you became really known for that.
So, well, to back up a little bit, I moved there because I wanted to work with Randy Matthews, who was a gospel rock and roll singer, sang like Joe Cocker. And I had met him and one time, and he said, "Man, you ever get to Nashville, look me up, give me a call." Well, you know how you say that, but you don't really mean it.
Right.
So I called him, and he says, "Well, why don't you come on audition for a band that I'm putting together?" And so I went to Nashville, auditioned. The audition went fine, but in the process, he ended up hiring a band that was already together.
Mm.
And that way they had their own thing going on. They just learned his stuff. And he didn't have to have the responsibility of keeping a band booked all the time. So I took a job as a bass player with a guy named Dickie Lee.
Dickie Lee. Right.
Dickie Lee.
I remember those days. Yep.
He wrote the classic country song, "She Thinks I Still Care."
Mm-hmm.
George Jones, Anne Murray, Conway Twitty, and Elvis all had #1 hits with that.
And Dickie Lee wrote it.
And yeah,
And now
he
playing.
co-wrote it.
You're
and I'm
playing bass for
with
Dickie
him.
Lee. All right.
He also did the country version of the Delaney and Bonnie song that Bonnie Bramlett wrote. "I've got a never-ending love for you."
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing that, and I meet a gal on the road.
Well, you're touring. You're
Yes.
on tour you're on nationwide tour.
Yeah,
with Dickie Lee.
Yep, we're playing out in California, and I meet this gal. So I leave Dickie's band, move out to California to get married, and I get out there, and that's not happening.
Uh-oh.
So I called Corey Fleeg and Roscoe and the Showcase guys that I knew.
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, come here, So I moved to LA and started playing with a country songwriter and a guy by the name of Gary Rolls, who was a guitar player, producer. He had been in a 5-man electrical band. They had Sign. He wasn't the original guy. Arthur Lee and Love. Bunch of other folks. Flo and Eddie, the two guys from the Turtles.
Flo and Eddie from the
produced
Turtles.
A couple of their records.
Who got their start with Frank Zappa,
Yes.
of all people. Yeah.
And so Gary was producing a record on this songwriter guy that I was working with, and I got to play bass on it. And he liked the way I played bass. And he flew me out to Oregon to play bass on a record for a 4-piece country rock band called Lodestar. Not to be confused with the country band Lone Star.
Lone Star. This is Lodestar.
Like the star at shown above Bethlehem at Christmas time was when Jesus was born.
Yeah.
Was a Lodestar.
Okay.
The Texaco star on
Okay.
the sign for the gas company was a Lodestar.
Gotcha.
And turns out there's 3 songs on this record. I played bass on the record, and there's 3 songs they wanted harmonica on. And I said, "Well, I screwed around with one in high school a little bit. Maybe I can do it." They said, "Well, let's try." And my zero ability on the instrument was just what was needed.
Wow.
They wanted something somewhere between Bob Dylan and Neil Young, only maybe not as good. And I was able to do it. So I played harmonica on this record.
Wow.
And that's what they invited us after we cut the record and went back to LA. About a month later, they invited us, why don't you guys move back out here and we'll turn this 4-piece into a 7-piece band. And that was going to be part of my job. And so I thought, if that's going to be part of my job, I'm not going to be in a band with a bunch of killer players. And then there's that guy over in the corner quick trying to learn how to play his fiddle in tune. That's not going to be me. If I got to play harmonica, I'm going to learn how.
Yeah.
And that's what started the whole thing.
Wow. So you just played the bass on those songs for that band, played the harmonica, but then you go back to LA?
Yeah. And then about a month later, they called up and said, why don't you guys move out here and we'll turn this 4-piece band into a 7-piece band.
You mean move up to Oregon?
Yeah.
Yuck.
And it's beautiful country out there.
All right.
Corvallis is a college town,
Mm-hmm.
Oregon State University.
And
Joe Avazano.
It was the early 80s, right?
Yeah.
So things weren't as bad as they are now. But
Joe Avazano, I don't think he's alive anymore, but he ended up being the assistant coach for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
But he was the coach at Oregon State University,
I see.
and they hadn't won a game in 10 years. I always wondered how he got that next gig, but
Potential, apparently.
yeah.
So what'd you do there?
So we had a 5-night gig as the house band at the Lamplighter Hotel. So I was playing.
And they had
The
like a
whole time.
bar and restaurant there?
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
thing?
like an old-timey bar.
Yeah,
And
with a proper stage and all that?
yeah,
That's good.
yeah. And so we did that.
You're playing bass.
And I was playing bass. And when I came into the picture, the guy that was the original bass player, who was a great singer, and he was just interested anyhow in, singing and playing acoustic rhythm guitar. So he got bumped over to doing that.
Yeah.
Then on the songs that I was going to play harmonica, he'd come back over and play bass. So it was kind of double duty.
Always fun, kind of something new for the audience to look at.
And boy, at that point, if I wasn't eating or sleeping or playing bass at the 5-night-a-week gig, I had a harmonica in my mouth.
Yeah.
And in a year's time, you can learn a whole lot of, hey, Mom, look at me,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I would say it took me a year to learn how to play, and about over 40 years at this point to learn what not to play and where not to play,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's how that all started. And when I wasn't playing with Lodestar, I would go play with a band called the Ray Brothers Band.
Where were they from?
They were from Portland, Oregon, originally from Texarkana.
Yeah.
And Bubba Ray went on.
Bubba Ray.
They
Go
tried to get that band a record deal for years, and it never happened.
Mm.
They just wanted Bubba Ray.
Yeah.
And he went on to be the 80s country icon Colin Ray.
Oh, same guy.
Same guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So fast forward a little bit. When I moved to 13 years ago, my wife had a job opportunity in San Diego. And so we went out there, and I kind of went back and forth between Nashville and San Diego. But I got to be in the house band for a big Christmas show called Carols by Candlelight. I did that for 8 years. And we got to so many people. Kenny Loggins did the show 3 times.
Wow.
It was started by Wayne Nelson, who was a bass player and lead singer for the Little River Band.
Oh.
And Colin Ray did it, and I knew he was going to do it. He didn't know I was going to be there. And we hadn't seen each other, spoken, or played any music together for 33 years.
Wow.
And he didn't recognize me. And
I got to take you back again, because we got off track.
I got off track there.
Well, all right.
But we were talking about Colin Ray. So I have
So you went from, did you go
pictures of us playing back in the day, and then the 33 years later. us together.
Did you go from Oregon and that whole situation? Did you go to Nashville from there?
I left the Lodestar to be a full-time harmonica player with the Ray Brothers band.
So you were on stage as a harmonica player.
Yes.
In the Ray Brothers band.
Yes.
And what were they? What were the
Shortly.
Ray Brothers band? What did they do? Were they
country?
country?
They were a country band.
Country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Country / outlaw country kind of.
Gotcha.
And then very shortly after that, I decided to move back to Nashville. So in '83, I moved back to Nashville.
We had a lot of playing in those few short years.
Yeah.
A lot going on there. So what was your plan once you got to Nashville?
Well, this time I'm a harmonica player. And
by the way, a harmonica player who also sings very well, plays great acoustic guitar and mandolin. And right, you play mandolin, right?
Yeah, enough to get me in trouble.
Exactly. And okay, so you're the harp guy now.
You say you're a man if you advertise yourself as a mandolin player.
Yeah.
And I picked up the mandolin because I was working for this producer, and he pulled me aside one time. He says, "Man, I love the way you play harp. I just don't need harp on everything. And if I could bring you in to do harmonica and whatever,
yeah,
I could throw you a lot more work. So maybe think about picking up another instrument." And so I spent about a year working at the mandolin stuff. But I also realized that in Nashville, you say you play mandolin, you're going to get a call eventually. And they are going to expect you to walk in and play a mandolin like Ricky Skaggs or Marty Stewart or Chris Thiele.
I would just imagine that there are probably 50 first call mandolin players in Nashville. Yeah. And you still got work.
Well, no. The only mandolin stuff I do now is on my own records that I've done,
Well, but your plan was to be a session player.
Yes.
Play no touring, no band, just be a session player. How did that work out for you?
Well, I ended up being playing with a group called Palomino.
Oh, I remember that name. Sure.
And I got to play on. They cut a little record, and it was all studio players except me. And that's one of the first records that I got to play on. And also, shortly after I got there, I reconnected with my friend Dino Paston, who was in the band that Randy Matthews had hired.
I see.
And so I called Dino and I said, "Hey, I'm back in town. I'm a harmonica player now." And he said, "Well, I'm working in Printer's Alley with this lady named Diane Sherrill." And he says, "You ought to come check us out. She'll probably let you sit in, and who knows, she might give you a job." So I went down there and I was allowed to sit in, and I started doing that quite a bit. And she kind of pulled me aside and she said, I've talked to the Alley, and they won't give me any more money to hire you. So here's the deal. I will, out of my own pocket, pay you $25 a night for Friday and Saturday. So $50 for the weekend if you want to come and sit in a night or two during the week. But you got to buy your own black shirt so you look like you belong in the band.
You got to buy your own black shirt. Oh.
But it was a great platform.
Yeah.
Because, I had a circuit.
Mm-hmm.
I would stop at 3 different clubs a night, and I'd sit in with this band on their first set, sit in with this other band on the second set, and the third set I'd be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And,
well, that's how you got to do it, I guess.
You gotta
get yourself out there.
Yep. And
in
so
Nashville.
That was a great platform
This
for
is how
me.
you get known. Yeah.
And then along the way started, and some of the guys in Diane Sherrill's band were also playing with Vassar Clements, the fiddle player.
Okay.
And Vassar was this kind of a bluegrass jazz fiddle player who, if the Grateful Dead were playing and they heard Vassar was in town, they'd, "Hey, come play with us."
Yeah.
He was like...
I take it that he didn't play like 5 nights a week or anything like that. He probably had occasional gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well known, obviously.
High regard.
Yeah.
And so I
So
got
now
to-
you're playing again. You're playing
Yeah.
you're playing at night again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Vassar was producing a record on this guy, so I got to play on that record. A guy named, I think his name was Sam Thompson.
So was Palomino over by this time?
Actually, that I'm not sure which happened first.
It's all right. It's not that important.
Yeah.
But how do you get from now you're playing steadily again? You're not getting the session work you want to do yet. It's not happening yet.
The session work kind of, it's all word of mouth.
Right.
This guy hires you and you do a good job for him, he'll call you back.
And he'll tell somebody else about you, and it all happens. It has a cumulative effect.
My mission was to tell people, well, I don't go on the road anymore. I just stay in town and do sessions.
Yeah.
And I would mention that about 1986, I got to meet a harmonica player who had been there probably about the same time as I had gotten there, but we had never really crossed paths. A guy named Jelly Roll Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And he was hooked up with Hohner.
Hohner, by the way, is the maker of fine harmonicas.
Yes.
And the biggest name in harmonicas.
And so he got me hooked up with Hohner. And this year.
And by hooked up, he means he got a Hohner endorsement.
Yes. And I've been a Hohner endorsee for 40 years.
This week?
No, well, this year.
This year. Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
I don't
That's
remember
great, man.
the
40
date.
years with Hohner.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's pretty cool.
Did they said you get all the free harps or what?
Well, they back then you got like $250 or $300 of free instruments. Then you got an endorsement prize.
Gotcha.
And so, but I got to be on the 1986 Hohner artist calendar, along with
what does that mean?
Well, they had a calendar, and whose ever birthday was on this month, you got your picture on that page.
Oh, I got okay, gotcha.
And so I was on there with Delbert McClinton was on there, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith was on there, John Sebastian Sr., who is John Sebastian from the Love and Spoonful, his dad.
His dad?
Yeah.
He was a
chromatic player.
Chromatic player.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into that?
No.
Because that's a whole nother animal.
I have one, but it is like a mouth piano. I mean, everything is there. I play the diatonic harmonicas. It's tuned to a chord, so not all the notes are there. I should rephrase that. They're there, but it just takes a different technique to get them.
Right.
And if you can get those notes, then you can play chromatically. I mean, like Howard Levy is the guy that kind of discovered that he didn't invent the term overblowing, but or he didn't invent doing that, but he's the guy that said, okay, well, if you can get all these notes, then you should be able to play in every key on the diatonic harmonica.
Right.
Which some keys, it's just laying right there for you. And the other one, some of them, it's almost impossible. But he did it. He's the big, tall, skinny guy that plays with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he was a piano prodigy at 5 years old or whatever.
Wow.
And so when he's playing harmonica, he's seeing the keyboards.
Yeah. Well, where did it go from there? Because now you're a Hohner endorsed harp player.
Okay.
And you playing this band, that band, the other band. You're going out clubbing every night.
Yeah. I got through the guys with Vassar Clemens band. I got to be in the house band for a benefit show at the world famous Bluegrass Station Inn in Nashville. It was a benefit for an old time fiddle player named Fraser Moss. And the piano player had been in John Prine's band. And John was going to be there. And he said, have you ever met John? He says, no. He said, would you like to play with him? I go, well, yeah. So he introduces me to John. And he says, John, TJ's a great harmonica player. You got to have him sit in. And he goes, well, I don't, he was hawing around about it. He said, well, I don't, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And piano player says, well, man, you ought to, he's a real good player. You ought to, And then I said, well, John, I play guitar too, and I can watch your hands and I can tell where you're going, and I won't embarrass you. He says, well, okay, I'll bring you up. So he does a few songs, and he calls me up. Okay, now I'm a guest. So I play song, and really, the playing harmonica is really all about serving the song and not playing. Harmonica players oftentimes are notorious about playing all over the place and stepping on the vocal, and you wouldn't want to do that, especially with John Prine.
Well, guitars are, harmonica is either a solo. You're either doing a solo or you're doing the little in-betweens.
Yep.
There's a vocal line, well, I went down to town to see my gal. And it's the masterfulness is
playing in the holes.
You playing in the holes. You get good at that, and people are going to want you for their gig, for their record, for whatever. So that was your plan.
And so he calls me up, and so we do the song. And okay, I'm a guest. So I get down, I thank him, and I get down. So he does like 2 more songs, and he says, TJ, you want to come back up and play a few more? So
I guess he liked it.
Yes. And so I do that. And then he gets down, somebody else gets up, and then at the end, the whole band gets up, and we do Paradise, which is probably John Prine's most famous song.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County? That one.
Yeah.
And
is that song known at all for its harmonica?
No.
Okay.
No. And so our guitar player's wife had taken some pictures, so she got some pictures of me just with the 2 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the whole band, which included Vassar Clements.
Right.
And years later, I reconnect with the guy that was playing dobro, and I said, hey, man, I got some pictures of when we were all playing with John at the end of that show. And he says, hey, man, send me those pictures, and I'll send you a video of, or a recording of it. I go, what do you mean? You'll send me a recording of it. He says, well, when we were going up there, I brought a cassette to the sound guy and says, can you just get a board mix of this? So 30 plus years later, I had no idea that song was being recorded.
Uh-huh.
And so I finally got to hear what we were doing in the picture. And the first time I heard the recording I was doing that, I was looking at that picture.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. And first he gives the Vassar a solo, and then comes around again and gives the dobro a solo. I thought, man, isn't that how the fiddle and the dobros always get a solo? And he comes to after the third verse, he goes, TJ, want to take one?
Boom.
I couldn't believe it. I had forgotten all about that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I will say one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten was about 2 weeks later after that. There was a place on Music Row called Tavern on the Row. And it was especially about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, is a big musician hang. And I went in there, and John Prine is sitting there with a table full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees me, motions me over, and I don't know any of these folks, but he says, yeah, you guys, this is TJ, man. He
hit the mic.
Couple of weeks ago, we did a show, and he got up and played with me, and it was just like playing with old friends.
Wow.
Now that would be a
cool
huge compliment, but coming from John Prine.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where'd you go from there?
I started playing with some of the guys that were in the Printer Alley band with Diane Sherrill. We put together a band called Jubal.
Oh, a new band.
Yes.
Okay.
And
now that was the purpose to
we were just doing, club gigs around
club
Nashville,
gigs.
house
Okay.
band gigs.
Cover band?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was playing harmonica.
Yeah. Were you getting paid okay at this point? Were you getting decent pay? Enough to live and
Yeah.
Keep your own place, have your own car, all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Sort of, okay. So how did Jubal do?
Okay, well, we had a few different house band gigs for a while. And there's a guy that was a friend of the keyboard player or the guitar player named Keith Longbotham. And Keith and the guitar player, they would, every winter, they would go to Arizona and do shows in all these campgrounds for the Snowbirds, and developed that into playing nice theaters and all the 55 plus places. Now, they'd go out there for 3 months at a time every winter. And so I started doing that with Keith. And Keith had a keyboard player that he was working with named Chris Marion.
All right.
And Chris calls me one evening and he says, "Hey, let's get together and talk. I got a business proposition for you." And so we met in the parking lot of the Bluebird Cafe, the infamous singer-songwriter club in Nashville. And he says, "Man, we're in the process of putting a band together, and we need somebody to sing the high harmonies, and we've got some studio time booked." And he says, "Man, I think you'd be just right for that." And so he says, "Just come and sing. You don't even have to play anything on the stuff." I ended up playing, I think, harmonica on one song and mandolin on 2 songs. But I sang the third harmony, and the stuff kind of came off like sounding a little bit between the Eagles and Restless Heart.
Really?
And so they decided to put this band, and I had a chance to be in the ground floor of it. And I thought, this would be a good thing to do, but this is not what I've been aiming for. I've been saying I don't go out on the road anymore. I just stay in town and do sessions. That's what I wanted to do. And so I finally prayed about it and said, "Lord, if this is an opportunity from you and you want me to do it, you need to change my heart, because right now I don't want to do it." That only took him about 2 weeks.
Right.
And it's a good thing that I did that. It affected my session career, but it opened up so many doors.
So what was the name of that band?
That was what ended up being the mid-'90s country band, Western Flyer.
Western Flyer.
And we had songs on the radio, videos on CMT.
Yeah. Appearances live, playing live on the CMT show.
Yeah,
right?
we did Music City Tonight with Crook and Chase. We probably did that
those
8 or 9 times.
all those things are on YouTube.
Yeah.
All those performances are on YouTube. You had the luxurious long hair, and you'd have your own riser over there playing harp and all that. Yeah. And great stuff.
I had my wife and I went to high school together. And my first
I did not know that.
Yeah. She grew up in a little farming, right outside a little farming community about 7 or 8 miles away from Hall, Iowa, called Rock Valley, Iowa.
Okay.
And so my first little band played at her freshman party. And when I was a senior and she was a junior, I gave her and 2 of her friends guitar lessons, which wasn't much more than me showing them the 3 chords that I learned the week before. But
no, I did not know that Eloise was from your childhood. I had no idea.
And then we never saw each other.
I figured you met her in Nashville.
No, and then we never saw each other for about 20 years, and we re-met in the airport in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We had each been home for Christmas, and our folks brought us back to the airport at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And so we re-met, and I said, well, I'm in this band. We're trying to get a record deal.
This is Western Flyer.
Yes.
Now
And
you're still in
now-
your 20s, aren't you?
Latter 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because we've been married 30 years.
Now,
this year.
did you agree to when you ran into Eloise at the airport?
Yep.
And did you guys agree like right then you'd like to see each other?
No. And 2 years later, Western Flyer, see, at that point, it was like, well, I'm in this band. We're trying to get a record deal. 2 years later, it was Western Flyer, and we were on our radio tour. And we were doing a couple radio shows in Baltimore. So I got her number from her brother and called her up and invited her.
Well, what was she doing in Baltimore?
She was living in the D.C. area, and she had just graduated from law school, and she was also an RN at that point.
Right. Both a
yes.
doctor and or a nurse.
And a lawyer.
A nurse and a lawyer.
You don't have to wonder at all who wins the arguments at our place. I got a snowball's chance in hell.
Now, she never practiced law, did she?
No.
No.
She was always much more. She even qualified to sit for the patent bar. And
Well,
she
there
was-
are many great jobs in the legal.
Yeah.
I worked for a law school for
you did,
25
doing video
years.
stuff.
And many of those people don't become lawyers. They just get great jobs with corporations, doing legal stuff.
Yeah. And so when we decided to get married, we picked the date. And
Are you still in Western Flyer at this point?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
And turns out we ended up getting, I think it was maybe our third or fourth time that we were doing Music City Tonight with Crook and Chase. We got booked on the same day. And at first I thought, well, we'll get, film that show in the morning and we'll just whiz up. I got a really close pastor friend, buddies, the incredible theologian, Dr. Jim Richards from Huntsville, Alabama, and he was going to marry us. And I thought, we'll just whiz up to Huntsville after we get done filming. Then I thought, well, wait a minute, that's going to be a whole day-long affair, that filming the TV thing. So when Charlie and Lorianne got wind of the fact that we were supposed to get married that day, they decided to throw me a bachelor party right on Music City Tonight.
Oh, wow.
And that's on YouTube somewhere as well.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
I've seen a big Crook and Chase segment where the whole band is being
Yeah.
interviewed, where you're all sitting like 3 and 3,
Yeah.
and where you're being interviewed. It was quite.
I thought there was
comical.
something suspicious because that time they had me sitting in front, usually because I was a taller guy.
That's right.
In
You were the tallest guy in the band.
Oh, I got a picture. and
By far.
I'm like, I never realized I stuck out that much,
Oh, I saw all the promo pictures for that band, and you're always the guys like way up here. Yeah.
I still have great relationships with all those guys. Chris, the keyboard player, for the last 20 years, he's been the keyboard player and high harmony singer in the Little River Band.
What they call the Little River Band now.
Yeah.
There's no original members.
And Wayne Nelson is still there, and he's the closest thing to original member.
Yeah.
He came in 3 years into the band. And actually, those original guys, they hated each other's guts.
They were Aussies, right? They're Australian. Yeah.
And they couldn't even be in the studio at the same time. So this one guy just didn't show up. So Wayne had come in as a bass player, and they said, "Can you on this song, which was Night Owls, can you play bass and sing just so we can sing our parts, and then we'll have to take your voice out of there?" And he said, "Sure." He went in there and just burned it.
Tore it up.
And they got done and they said, "Well, congratulations on your first lead vocal in the Little River
Couldn't
Band."
be the new.
And so the original guy, he didn't get to sing his part,
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Wayne's a great guy and a fabulous bass player and singer.
Well, all good things come to an end.
So,
the Western
yeah.
Flyer eventually
Yep.
did what, 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
together? More than that?
Yeah, I'm going to say 6 maybe.
6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From when 5 or 6, from when we started getting See, we started getting together 2-3 nights a week for about a year, just singing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a point where all we knew was Danny Myrick's original songs. And unlike the other guys, I mean, I played 6-night-a-week house band gigs.
Right.
None of those guys did that. So the guy that was our original producer, Mickey Heider from 5 Star Publishing, said, all right, you guys learn about 50 cover tunes. Then we're going to go to some club out of town. We don't want to have you playing in town because then it'll be hard for you to get a record deal because you'll be just considered, they're just a club band.
Right.
So we'd find some Elks Club or, something like that out of town a ways, just for the calisthenics of jamming and playing together.
Right.
And then we started, about a year later, we started shopping to different labels.
Well, eventually, though, it all came to an end.
Yep.
And where'd you go from there?
I ended up doing those for over 20 years. I would go to Arizona every winter with Keith Longbotham
Mm-hmm.
and Chris, who was the keyboard player in Western Flyer, and then went on to be in a Little River Band. We also the two of us played in the Keith Longbotham Trio.
Uh-huh.
And we close to 25 years we went to
My
Arizona
goodness.
every winter. It was a good, solid thing to do in the wintertime when not much was going on,
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed in Nashville, just doing sessions and doing a lot of jingles.
What was Eloise doing?
She employed her RN status and worked at Centennial Hospital for about 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, this would be a good place to take a little break.
Okay.
While we take a little break, we've been going for an hour.
yeah.
So let's take a little break, and we'll come right back and pick it up to what happened after Western Flyer with
Okay.
TJ Klay.
All
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back. I'm sitting here with my good buddy TJ Klay, going on 50 years now, in and out of years of not being in contact, then suddenly connecting again, or just keeping in touch with each other through the years while you were busy with your Nashville music career and all that. And when we took a break, we basically were at the end of the Western Flyer period. So what happened after that?
Well, one thing I would say about the Western Flyer thing is we were doing Music City Tonight with Crook and Chase. And we're on there one time, and Louise Mandrell, who is Barbara Mandrell.
The famous Mandrell sisters.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Louise is the middle sister. There was Barbara and then Louise and Erlene.
Mm-hmm.
And Louise, she was promoting her second annual Louise Mandrell Celebrity Shoot, raising money for the Boy Scouts.
Shoot? What does that mean? What are you talking about shooting?
Okay. They would have a charity sporting clay shoot.
A clay shoot. You're talking about the clay pigeon thing.
Yes.
Pull. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Go ahead.
Okay. She had Robert Conrad from Wild Wild West and Eric Estrada from Chips with her. And so they're promoting this. And so we got done singing, and she walks up, and I don't know how I was the first person I guess I was standing the closest to her, but she comes up and said, "Hi, I'm Louise. You guys need to be in my sporting clay shoot this weekend. Good cause, raises money for the Boy Scouts." And none of us had ever done that. So
you weren't like a big hunter back in Hull, Iowa or anything like that.
I hunted, and Northwest Iowa is debatably one of the pheasant hunting capitals in the world.
Oh, pheasant hunting. So,
yeah.
Well,
big time.
If you had pheasant hunting experience, you'd be a natural at clay shooting.
And I only hunted like 3 times.
Okay.
And the reason I only hunted 3 times was I would go with my buddies, and in the local hardware store, they had a new they had a rack full of hunting vests. Hunting season, they get all these clothes to go out with. And so I put the pressure on my folks, and they let me get this little hat and a a vest to put my shells in, and then if you got a pheasant, there's a pocket in the back where you can
Well, I hope you
carry it.
You had a gun, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had my dad's shotgun, which I still have.
All right.
It was a J.C. Higgins, sold at Sears.
Yeah.
And I haven't got the manual that came with it.
Oh boy.
And anyhow, so I'd been hunting with my buddies, and we were walking down these railroad tracks, and these tracks went right past my uncle and aunt's house.
Oh.
And on Sundays after church, one Sunday we'd go to my grandma on my mom's side, and then we'd take turns going to different uncles and aunts on my dad's side.
Yeah.
And so we're at that uncle and aunt this particular Sunday, and one of my uncles said, "Yeah, hunting season just started this past week." And my aunt goes, "Yeah, I was looking out in the back, and I saw some hunters walking down the tracks, and one of them had this stupid looking outfit on." That was me in my new hunting vest.
Oh man.
And I never did it again.
You never wore it again?
Nope. That
Okay,
was the end of my hunting career.
Louise Mandrell.
So we go out and do the shoot.
Yeah. And what do you mean by you did the shoot? What does that even mean?
It was a fundraiser.
You weren't
shoot.
playing music.
No, we were celebrity guests,
so to speak.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so we shot trap in the morning and sporting clays in the afternoon, and but they had for lunch they had everybody go in this big tent, and they had a bulletin board with all their celebrity guests' names.
Okay.
And what that was is they had door prizes for everybody. So now all us guys in Western Flyer, we all didn't go up at the same time, and it's a good thing because one guy in the band got a pocket knife. Said Louise Mandrell Celebrity Shoot on it. One guy got a little duffel bag, said Louise Mandrell Celebrity Shoot. One guy got a shirt with a recoil pad, and I'm thinking, like, where's he going to wear that, you know?
Yeah.
And said Louise Mandrell Celebrity Shoot. When I go up there, I said, I'm a TJ Klay. And they hand me a 3-foot box, and in that 3-foot box, there's a Browning over under special sporting clay shotgun.
Wow.
At the time, it was about an $1,850 gun.
What in the world? How did you?
I have no
that?
idea. It was divine intervention, God's providence. But that gun changed my life, and I started going out to the gun club. If I wasn't on the road 2-3 times a week, I thought, this is the gun everybody tells me that's the gun everybody wants to have, so I need to go out there and learn how to shoot it. And I enjoyed this. I want to get good at it.
Yeah.
So the next year, I went out and told our manager, "Hey, I want to do that Louise Mandrell shoot again." And so he got back and said, "Well, they got room for one guy, but they don't have room for the whole band." I said, "Look, I'm the guy that won the gun, and I'm the guy that spent a boatload of money doing that this past year. Nobody else wanted to even go do it, so it was a shoe in." And then her sister Erlene called. Oh, and so Louise's last shoot was in 2000, so she did 5 shoots that I was at. And I won High Celebrity Shooter at the last one.
Wow.
And but her sister Erlene called me and says, "I'm doing a shoot for Wish Upon a Star. Will you come and do it?"
Now, this is all charity stuff,
Yeah.
right? So there's no money in it.
Well, there's not. Well, there was, but not for the participants.
Right.
Except the only time I got any money was I won. Okay, they would have a Calcutta shoot off that whoever you could bid on, whoever you thought which one of the celebs was going to win.
I see.
And so one guy bid about, I think about $2,000. And if
What, he bid $2,000 on you?
yeah,
On you winning?
yeah,
Okay.
and and I won.
Yeah.
So half of that would go to the charity,
Yeah.
And then he
50-50.
split- Yeah,
Yeah.
he split his
Right.
take with me.
Typical 50-50
So I got
stuff.
he gave me
Sure,
$500.
There you go.
So, but the rest of those, the charity would get half of it, and then whoever bid on them would keep it.
Right.
But I was the only one on Earlene's celebrity roster that would made all 13 years.
And that was an annual thing?
Yes.
So you just year after year, that was the thing you looked forward to and did it?
But doing Louise's shoot, I met Leslie Easterbrook, became friends with her. And
Who's that? Who's Leslie Easterbrook?
Leslie Easterbrook. Do you remember the Police Academy movies?
Sure.
She was Sergeant Callahan.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so she got me invited to the Hollywood celebrity shoot.
Nice.
And I was shooting trap with Dusty Rogers, who is Roy Rogers' only biological son.
Oh, my.
And we got done, and he says, TJ, when you heading back to Nashville? And I said, on Monday. He says, I got an offer for you. He says, man, why don't you get a car and stick around for a couple of days? I'd love for you to come up to see the museum, which is the Roy Rogers and Dale Evans Museum, which is in Victorville, California. He says, I'd love for you to come and see the museum. I'd love for you to get to meet Dad, and I really want him to hear you play. How do you say no to that?
Right. Roy Rogers, man. Roy freaking Rogers.
So, and I guess this is a good segue to get into where we're ultimately going with this thing.
Yeah.
But when he said that, invited me, and then he says, I don't know how Dad's health hasn't been all that good. I don't know how long we're going to be blessed to have him around. But I wanted to, extend you the invitation, while we still can. And I didn't hear an audible voice, and I didn't see golden letters across the sky, but I know when the Holy Spirit's kind of tapping me on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And he said, you need to go lay hands on him and pray for him. And I thought, right, Lord, I'm just going to walk up to Roy Rogers and pray for him. So I get down there, and
Roy Rogers he's in his 80s.
This was a week before his 86th birthday.
Okay, continue.
And so we get there, and I had a friend that said, hey, man, I got a car. Well, I'll bring you down there. And he also had a camera. So he got these really nice pictures of me with Roy Rogers. Actually, one where I'm playing, and he's singing along. He's got his arm around me.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll get into that a little further
in
the story.
Yep.
But so we get there, and so we're walking down the... Dusty says, Dad's office is in the back of the museum. We'll go back there. And as we're walking up, I see through the crack in the door, there's Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys. He's got this red plaid flannel shirt on and a white cowboy hat. And I'm thinking, there's a scripture that says where your gift will make a way for you before it'll bring you before kings. And I thought, God, you're faithful, man. I'm fixing to walk in and play for the King of the Cowboys.
Right on.
So we go in, and Dusty says, hey, Dad, this is my good friend TJ Klay. We shot in the Hollywood shoot together this weekend, and TJ's the harmonica player I've been telling you about. And Roy goes, oh, nice to meet you. I've been having problems with my lungs. My lungs are filling up with fluid, and my heartbeat's irregular. I mean, the first thing past, hi, how you doing, is like his ailments.
Yeah.
You need to lay hands on him and pray for him.
Yep.
Okay. So we sit there and talk for a few minutes, and Dusty says, TJ, did you bring a harmonica? I says, yeah. He says, why don't you play something? And Roy goes, yeah, I'd like to hear you play. What do you play when you're standing 5 feet in front of the King of the Cowboys?
It's got to be Happy Trails, right?
Considering that his wife Dale wrote that'd be a good choice.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Right.
So this is exactly what, you can't make this stuff up. This is exactly what happened. I go, da 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 da, and right there he comes over, puts his arm around me, and this is what he sings. Keep smiling till the end. Who cares about the weather? And I forget the words and I don't give a shit. At that point, we're all laughing so hard I can't even play the rest of it.
And there's no camera rolling anywhere?
Yeah.
There's no video camera rolling?
No, but I got a picture of that, you know?
Yeah.
And so then there's a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And he says, all right, you can do what you know you're supposed to do. Or you could say, well, I'll be back out here next year and I'll pray for him then. Problem is, you don't know if he's going to be here next year. And he wasn't. But you don't know if you're going to be here next year.
Right.
And I ended up being back there. But that's another story. So
how did you deal with it? Did he ask him?
I said, and I had told Dusty, hey, I feel that I'm supposed to do this. Are you cool with that? And he says, by all means. I mean, both Roy and Dale, they were very public about their Christian faith,
mm-hmm.
and about their guns, And Dusty told me one time, he said, people would all the time, they'd say, Roy, can you come and ride in this parade? And can you do this? But can you leave your guns at home?
Yeah.
And he would say, no. He would, when he was in a city, he would find like a blind kid's home for the blind. And so those blind kids, the one thing they'd want to do is they'd want to touch his guns and feel his guns because they didn't know what that was.
Right.
They couldn't see him. And so that was a big part of his thing,
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Roy, you mentioned earlier that you've been having some health issues with your lungs filling up with fluid and your heart beat, and he said, yeah. I says, well, would it be all right if I prayed for you? And he says, oh, I'd like that. And he took off his hat and kind of held it over his heart like when you're doing Pledge of Allegiance.
Like a good cowboy would do.
Yeah, and I just laid hands on him and just started just blessing him and praying the word over him,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I heard click. And my buddy who took those other pictures took a picture of that. And I thought, oh, crap. Now he's going to think I'm doing this just to get a picture doing it.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that wasn't the case at all. So I can't worry about that. But that's a picture I intentionally never showed anybody for like 30 years probably.
Is that right?
Just because I didn't want anybody to.
I don't think I've seen that picture.
No, I'll show you. But
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
And can we put it on the show? Can we show it on the show? That would be so cool.
For sure the other two.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll talk about it.
It's very personal. I get it.
I didn't want anybody to think, well, boy, he thinks he's cool, and there'd be any misconstrued as like, that I was special because I got to do that. It's like there's nothing special about me. It's like special who God is and what.
But that was the only time you got to actually be with Roy.
Yes.
He died. He died within a year.
Well, this is way cool. So turns out this is a week before his 86th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I called up Honer and I said, hey, I just spent a half an hour with Roy Rogers. And I got to play for him. And he's played a little bit of harmonica. It's his 86th birthday next week. I want to get him a harmonica. They said, whatever you want, we'd be happy to send it to you. I says, well, I want one that doesn't have any engravings on the covers because I want to get something engraved on it. And they go, well, we only have one that I says, I know which one you're talking about. I have a couple of them. And I said, send me a G, because he has an old harp that he got from his dad. And half the holes on it don't even work anymore.
Sure.
You know? So they're going to send me a G. A month later, I get a call and said, hey, we don't have that key. I thought, send me a C. What if he croaks before I get to give it to him, you know?
Man.
And so another month goes by. Finally, this C arrives. And so I go to the mall. There's an engraving place. And this guy looks at it. He says, oh, man, I can't engrave on anything that's not totally flat. Okay. Because they're going to put it in this, in a jig, and it's got the needle, you know, it's got.
So it has to be flat.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I go to another place, same thing. I think the fourth guy I went to, I mean, I had to dig out the yellow pages and really find a place. And I show up there, and this looks like an old rummage sale place. And I walk in. I says, do you do engraving? And he goes, oh, yeah. I says, can you engrave on this? He says, oh, yeah, I can. He sits back in his chair, pulls this drawer, grabs this engraving pen, and he's just going to freehand it.
Going to freehand it. Yeah.
And I thought, don't screw it up, man. It took me 2 months to get this thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And in the perfect cursive writing, you'd never think, by looking at him, you know, you think this guy, it's going to be sloppy.
Right.
It was perfect. And so he wrote, Roy Rogers, happy birthday and happy trails to you, TJ Klay and Honer Incorporated.
All of that on one little harmonica?
Yep.
And he did it beautifully.
He did it beautifully.
Wow.
So I
What a
sent
thing,
it to
man.
Dusty,
Gosh.
and he sent me a nice letter back. He says, man, Dad's eyes lit up and when he saw that thing, and he plays it almost every day, and he has it sitting on the shelf by his chair. And when we emptied out his office, he said, make sure you get that harmonica. Bring that home, you know. So fast forward about 6 months later, I'm watching the news, and all of a sudden, there's a picture of Roy. It says, Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, dead at 86. And the thought occurred, well, a couple thoughts occurred to me. First, that, you know, and I felt like I was supposed to pray for him, and I thought, well, I could do it next year, but, you know, you don't know if he's going to be here or not. And he wasn't. But the next thought that occurred to me is, you know, when you have a birthday and people give you presents and even send you presents, you know, maybe 1 or 2 days, a week after your birthday, you know, you've probably gotten all the presents that you're going to get, leave alone in 2.5 to 3 months. And so, because it took so long to get this harmonica engraved and everything, and it took almost 3 months, I have the honor of gotten Roy Rogers the very last birthday present that he ever got. And they put it, when he passed, they put it in his museum. Dusty called me and says, hey, Dad's gone. Would you like to have that harmonica back? And I said, well, what are you going to do with it if I don't take it? He says, well, I'm going to put it in the museum. He says, well, I said, man, I'd be honored to have it being there.
Put it in the museum, folks.
When they moved the museum from there to Branson, he called me again. And he said, we're moving the museum to Branson. And would you like to have that harmonica back? I said, well, what are you going to do with it if I don't take it? He said, well, it'll be in the museum in Branson. I said, I'd be honored to have it there. When they closed that down.
Oh, no.
He called me again. He says, we're closing it down. And would you like to have that harmonica back? And I said, what are you going to do with it if I don't take it? He says, well, we got a glass little case in our living room with some of Dad's personal little things. And I was going to put it in there. I said, that's where it belongs.
Yeah.
You know,
do you have a picture of it? Did he ever send you any pictures of it?
I took some pictures of it before I sent it to them, but I don't know if it's hard to because of the curve of it. There's glare.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Sure.
I'll show you what I
Sure.
got, and I don't know if it'll.
Yeah.
You'll be able to
Man.
actually read it.
What a great story. That's just so awesome.
And another side note: when they closed it down, they auctioned off a lot of his stuff, and of course, the Country Music Hall of Fame got some of his nudie suits. Nudie was a tailor in L.A., and he did all the country guys had suits with big paisley on them.
Right.
And so some of his
the rhinestone cowboy,
cowboy outfits that he had, some of those are in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And RFD TV is headquartered in Nashville, and they bought the original Trigger, the taxidermied horse.
Yeah, they had Trigger stuff, didn't they?
And German Shepherd, Bullet, the dog. And I don't know whatever happened to the Buttermilk. That was Dale's horse, because they had that taxidermy as well. I don't know where that went. But think about it for a minute. If you had a dog and you had to, you'd bury it. For the sake of the public, he had that thing stuffed. So every day when he comes to his museum and hangs out, he has to see his dead dog looking at him and his dead horse looking at him.
Yeah.
I mean, Trigger was in, I forget, I think it's something like 250 different TV episodes and movie videos that he was in. I mean, the working relationship that he had with that horse was just incredible. Because he could get him to do all these stunts. He'd spin with him, and then he'd get the horse to bow and to the crowd.
Right.
I mean, it was like amazing stuff.
Yeah. I guess probably didn't have Dale stuffed.
No. And I never got to meet her.
Where did she? No, were they buried together somewhere?
I think so.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. Now, however, I did write my friend Glenn Ashworth, who I've been writing songs with for probably about 35 years. And it's one of the big joys in my life. We wrote yesterday morning, finished up a song. And I've written 2 songs with Glenn that were really inspired by Roy. The first one is called Heroes Like You. And I had the lyrics of that printed out. And I asked Dusty if he would sign them for me.
Mm-hmm.
He says, why don't you have a bunch of these made and send them to me, and I'll sign them, and I'll get Mom to sign them. And so I had Dale's autograph on all these things, and I would get them matted and framed. And then I would use those, when you get invited to a celebrity shoot as a celebrity guest, they want you to bring an auction item.
Right.
And so I would bring a matted and framed print of the lyrics to this song. And then signed by myself, Glenn Ashworth, my co-writer, Roy Rogers Jr., and Dale Evans. And most of the time she'd write Dale Evans, and then she'd put in parentheses for Roy, which is like way cool.
Awesome.
And the rest of those that I had got drowned in our flood.
In Nashville.
When I had them on the top shelf in my gun safe, and the water's like way above the top of the gun safe. So all those got ruined.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
When was the flood?
We had 2 of them. The one that everybody knows about was that's when the Cumberland River came out of its banks, and all the big country artists like Vince Gill and people like that lost hundreds of guitars at Soundcheck. It was a big rehearsal studio facility and a storage place. And for that flood, our basement level was just belly button high.
Yeah.
3 years later, that was the 1st of May, 2010. But on the 8th of August, 2013, 4 a.m, it decided to rain 7.5 inches in 2 hours.
Gosh.
And we woke up. My wife had gotten up, and she had to be at work at 7, so she'd get up at usually 5:30 probably. And it had just started raining. And every time it started like raining really hard, we think, geez, what if it happens again? So she goes out and looks out the window. The cars seem to be all right. Looks down the basement. Floor is dry as a bone. She turned on the weather, washed it for about 20, 30 minutes, and looked out the window again. Cars are fine. It's raining like hell, but cars are fine. And looks down the basement, dry as a bone. Goes back to watching the weather as she's getting ready for work. And she's sitting there on the couch, and all of a sudden she smells something kind of funky. And on her way to look out the window, she opened the door to the basement, and it was this far from coming in our main floor.
Oh,
so
my.
It was totally in about approximately 30 minutes, that water went from the dry as a bone to totally to the ceiling in the basement and then higher.
Wow.
And she just fell on the couch, and she's curled up like a baby going and just moaning, oh, it's happening again. It's happening again. And I'm sleeping, and I wake up to this horrible sound, and I go, what's wrong? She goes, it's happening again. It's happening again. I go, what? She says, it's happening again. I go, what? And she runs over to me, and she goes, it's happening again. I grabbed her, and I go, shut up. What's happening again? And she points at the window, and I go look over the window, and our front yard, it's like a river with whitecaps on it.
Oh, my.
And I'll show you some of those pictures.
Would you live by a river or something, or?
No, but we're at the bottom of a hill.
Oh, there you go.
And we have an acre of land, and at the end of our property, there's a big creek bed, and that goes up into an old railroad berm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a pocket. And 7.5 inches in 2 hours, there's no place for that water to go, and it just built up. So,
okay, so let's move the story forward now. You've done you've done all the shooting things. You've been you did that for years, though.
I did. I mean, I would get invited to the Hollywood celebrity shoot, the Sugar Bug celebrity shoot, Quail Unlimited celebrity quail hunt, the Grand National celebrity quail hunt.
Now, these were always
Heartland
fundraisers.
Yep.
Always fundraisers.
So they weren't money makers per se, but I would meet people at these that would hire me to come out and do their events
for music.
Yeah. And so, and a lot of the songs.
You were doing that solo.
Yeah.
You'd go out and you'd play guitar. And now you
harmonica.
You were racking the harmonica at that point, which I guess you didn't come up doing that. That's something you had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Right. And you did a lot of that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And
everybody got to know TJ Klay.
And it was kind of interesting.
Well, I saw one of those shows. I went to one of those shows, and I saw you. And I watched your whole show.
Was that with Keith?
I don't know. It was just you.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember, but you were going to be in the area wherever I was at that point, and you invited me to come out, and I watched the whole show, and I was just as pleased as I could be with the whole thing because you made a whole show out of it. You're a great talker. You handled the audience so just superbly, and you told stories about the songs, and you did the songs, and you just had the audience eating out of the palm of your hand. It was great.
I've been so blessed to have had a number of my life has been full of crazy happenings that give me great stories to tell. Like telling, the whole story about Roy Rogers and how he ended up singing with him and forgetting the words and what he said. That's a whole story in itself. And then it leads to a couple songs. I'll tell you a story about that. So I'm doing this celebrity pheasant hunt in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Now, I don't remember who was all there as a guest, but I was one of them, and Ted Nugent was another one.
Oh, Ted, yep.
And so we meet, and that's the second encounter that I've had with Ted. So when I bring this, my auction item is that lyric of the song "Heroes Like You," a matted and framed print of it. So I always would tell them, the people in charge of it, I said, if you put this out as a silent auction item, you're going to be lucky to get $25 for it. But if you let me get up, and this is not about me getting up to sing this song.
Yep.
But if you let me get up and tell how I got to meet Roy's story and then play the song, you'll have people pay $1,000 for him. A number of people would do that, Okay. So as luck, I don't know if it's luck or not, but as luck would have it, I'm up there doing the song, and Ted is sitting in the front row, and I'm thinking to myself, this is probably the only time in history when I'm going to be up playing and Ted Nugent is sitting there listening to me. I might go to a Ted concert and be watching him, but that's just crazy. So I get to the end of the song, and I kind of keep this finger picking.
Get close to the mic, Teach.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep. Kind of doing this finger picking thing. And I said, y'all, I am an opportunist, and I've got to do this just for me. And I went, dun, 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 dun. Cat scratch fever.
Yeah, of course.
And Ted goes, one more beer and you'll have it. It's hard to demonstrate that right close. That's what
you remember on our second tour, we played a Ted Nugent song.
Yeah.
It was nobody knew the song, but he put out an album called Weekend Warriors.
Yeah.
And he had his guitar, and it was shooting. It was like it was a gun on. It was a cartoon of him on the cover.
Yeah.
And the song was "Need You Bad." Remember?
I do
need you bad. Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that.
So, anywho, another story. So I am get invited to the St. Jude hospitals. They did
what a worthy cause.
A celebrity shoot.
Love St. Jude's.
In Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah.
And so they fly Earlene Mandrell and her husband at the time and myself out in a private plane to Wichita. Then they take us by helicopter to Flint Oak Shooting Complex. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. And so that evening, a bunch of folks got in that afternoon. That evening, while we were doing dinner, another load of celebrities came in from California. Among them, Jerry Mathers.
Oh,
who
wow.
is,
The Beaver.
Beaver.
Yep.
And so he ends up sitting right across from me at dinner. He's kind of quiet, and we said hi and not a whole lot, And the next morning, I get up and they're going to take us to breakfast. And he's coming out of his room the same time. And so we meet in the hallway and we're walking to breakfast. He says, TJ, usually I get up and I walk a few miles every morning. He says, obviously I'm not going to do that, but I'm not going to take the shuttle. I'm going to walk down to where we're eating. You want to go with? And this little voice in the back of my head goes, well, you better go with him. 5 minutes from now, you can be walking down a gravel road with the beef. So we're walking. Turns out we've got a bunch of mutual friends. We were both born in Sioux City, Iowa.
Crazy.
And both big Roy Rogers fans.
Wow.
And so we're talking and having a great time. And right before we get there, now most of the time you would say, "Hey, Jerry, could I ask you a question?" And he says, "Yeah." Well, I didn't say, "Jerry, can I ask you a question?" I says, "Hey, Jerry, can I say something to you?" And he goes, "Yeah." I went, "Gee, Beeve." And he goes, "Oh, man." I said, "No, wait a minute. Everything on your show, it was G Beeve, G Eddie, G Wally, G Lumpy, G Mr. Rutherford, G Mom, G Dad." And in the house I grew up, man, if you said G, oh, you got reprimanded, because that's like abbreviation for saying Jesus, taking the Lord's name in vain, for cussing. And boy, if I said G, I got it handed to me on a platter, So anyhow, but we have remained friends. Now I haven't had any contact with him, but we did a bunch of celebrity shoot things together, and his birthday's on the 2nd of June. And so I'd always call him on his birthday, play happy birthday over the phone, and he'd always call me on the 12th of June. But the last numbers I have for him aren't good anymore. So we haven't had any. I haven't seen him in years. But
well, maybe he'll see this. Jerry,
I would love for that.
Jerry, you need to get on it, man. TJ's been wanting to catch up with you.
So, another shooting story. You remember the show Laramie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
good.
Well, the two guys were Slim Sherman and Jess Harper. Jess Harper was played by Robert Fuller.
Okay.
So
there were so many Western shows.
Oh, I know it.
So many.
So the first time I get invited to the Hollywood shoot, they had the night we get there, they got the celebrity sponsor banquet, and there's the guy that played Jess Harper, Jess Harper, yeah, Robert Fuller. Okay, so I went and met him and say, "Hey, great to meet you." I says, "I used to watch Laramie all the time, So the next day, the squad that I was shooting on was right behind the squad that he was shooting on. And so we walk up and we're waiting, and he was just up to shoot. And so he shoots, misses one, and I think he missed another pair. And so I immediately walked up, put my hand on his shoulder, and I says, "Slim Sherman wouldn't have missed those." And he looked at me like, "Yeah, screw you a little bit." I mean, I got a great story to tell out of that, So all that to say, I've got a ton of great stories about all kinds of stuff, which I worked real hard, probably as hard as at the songwriting thing. I worked at storytelling and what to say between songs, because it's easy to try and talk too much. But I was a big Jackson Browne fan, and still am. But he was a master of talking just the right amount between songs, but everything he said, he had you captivated.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I need to learn how to do that, whatever that is. And I've just been blessed with enough cool things to tell stories about,
Yeah. Great. Where do we go from here? You're not, are you gigging with a band at this point?
Well, one of the things I did for years is I met a guy named John Gindick, and at a harmonica convention. And John Gindick was a harmonica educator, and he ended up. I met him. I thought, man, I know who that guy is. He's got a bunch of books that he wrote about harmonica and everything. And so when I got home from that convention, I just sent him an email and said, "Hey, man, it's nice to meet you. Holler if I can do anything for you."
Yeah.
And I always just say that. I didn't know that he put on these blues harmonica camps, And so about a week later, I get a response. He says, "Man, I think you ought to come out." And he thought I was a teacher, and I really wasn't. I mean, I could give somebody some basic harmonic lessons, but I didn't do that officially. And so he invited me out to one of his camps, which he would have those in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And went out there and ended up staying for the whole thing. And he just invited me out for a day. And he says, I got a place for you to stay for a night. And I didn't know if that place would be available for the whole time or not, but it turns out it was. So I stayed the whole time. Then he ended up starting to hire me as one of his regular teachers and let me develop at my own rate as a teacher and a harmonica coach. And so I worked for him 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, did a lot of those. We'd part of that time we were doing 3 of those a year. Most of the time, I think we just settled on 2 a year. But that was a great thing for me. And then, and he passed away shortly. I got to speak to him right before he died. Maybe a few days. And that was when I was at Lowell's Celebration of Life in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to mention, ended up going to the Belmont Church. And one of the guys that was the worship leader there was a guy named Rob Frazier. And Rob spent years as a contemporary Christian artist. He was kind of like the Bruce Springsteen of contemporary Christian music. I always kind of viewed him that way. And I had done a few sessions for him. He got into producing some other folks and worked with him in the studio. And he says, man, we got to do something sometime, do a band thing. So he calls me and he says, I'm going to do this thing. I want you to do it with me. And I'm going to have Rick Kua play bass.
Remember that name?
Yep. And Rick Kua was actually, he wasn't the original bass player, but he spent quite a while playing bass in the Outlaws, that country rock.
Yeah, I remember. That's
Green
where
Grass and High Tide.
Yep.
But he had a contemporary Christian solo artist as well, and is a pastors at like associate pastor or had different roles, pastoring different things at a church in Franklin. But so he says, I'm going to get Mel Watts. And I had ended up working with, I guess that's when I met Mel Watts. And that's the night I met Dave Perkins. And Dave Perkins had produced a lot of contemporary Christian records. He produced a bunch of Pam Mark-Hall stuff, produced some Randy Stonehill records when Randy was trying to make a comeback in the early 80s. And so we ended up playing at a coffee house in Franklin, Tennessee, and Rob billed it as the band named the Naked Farmers because he produced a band from England, and he went out there and did a show with them. And the best response was when not when he did his show or when the band did their show, but when they came out together. And somebody yells out, "What's the name of the band?" And he just yelled out, "The Naked Farmers."
Oh, that's how it works.
That wasn't the name of the band, but he just spur of the moment yelled that out. So he billed this configuration as the Naked Farmers, and nobody knew who it was. So the only people that came were Rob's wife and their daughter, and the late Jonathan David Brown. He was a producer in Nashville.
Wow.
But that's the night I met Dave Perkins. And so I started doing some Dave sessions for Dave, and we ended up doing Dave Perkins. He called it, the name of the band was Dave Perkins and Friends. And I played for him with him over 20 plus years. Our keyboard player in that band was Reese Winans, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for being in Double Trouble, Stevie Ray Vaughan's band. Reese was supposed to be in the Allman Brothers. He was in the very first jam that where all the brothers got together for the first time and played for a number of played for about 3 or 4 hours without stopping. And then Dwayne took off his guitar and said, "All right, anybody's not going to be in my band is going to have to fight their way out of this room." That included Reese. But then he came back later and said, we're already going to have 2 guitar players and 2 drummers and 2 keyboard players. It was going to be too much. And he knew that when Greg came back from California and was going to be playing B3, that was the end of him. So, but anyhow, so Reese was our keyboard player in that band. And then for the last 15 years, I think he was touring with Joe Bonamassa.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so poor guy can't get a gig. And he has been doing those Allman Brothers reunion shows that Derek Trucks and Warren Haynes do. And so, which is way cool for him. And as well, it's cool for everybody that gets to see him. So, anyhow, I played with Dave Perkins, played a whole lot on his Pistol City Holiness record. He produced a soundtrack that I played on for the movie called Deadline. It was kind of about some racial violence. And Mickey Raphael actually played harmonica on one song on the soundtrack. I think I played on 7 or 8 songs.
Oh, wow.
And some bunch of little snippets, when you're doing there might be into a scene, there might be a little lick that comes in and brings it, stuff like that too.
Right.
And
I want to get a little personal. I don't know how comfortable you are talking about this, but when and how did you find out you were sick?
Oh, I don't mind talking about that at all. I got home from a flight. So at this point, my wife had taken this job in San Diego. Mm-hmm. For the first 10 years, I went back and forth quite regularly.
Yeah, you guys had a condo in San Diego.
Yes.
And a home in Nashville at that point.
And I got home from a flight somewhere, and I was getting undressed for bed, and Eloise goes, "Look at your legs." And my ankle was swollen as fat as my calf. Mm-hmm. And my calves were way bigger. And she's going, "That don't look good." So we were already scheduled to go back to California or to Nashville. So we moved up our flights and went and saw my doctor, and he put me on a diuretic. And in about a week, I lost about 15 pounds of just fluid. And then he said, "Okay, you need to go see your heart doctor." And so over a couple trips, I had every conceivable test that you can have on your heart. And my heart doctor says, "Okay, here's the deal. You can eat cheeseburgers every night for the rest of your life, and you won't die of a heart attack." So that was his way of saying that your heart's not related to this fluid. So, long story, a little shorter. They had me, when I got back to San Diego, they had me do a 24-hour urine test, and it was full of protein. So one of the issues was I was peeing away all my protein. And so we did a kidney biopsy, and that was confirmed. But we did that, and this new primary doctor says, "But there's something else going on. There's something going on in your blood, and we can't tell what it is. So we want to do a bone marrow biopsy." And so they did that. And she said, "Just know that whatever we find, we're going to be treating it with chemo." And I go, what are you trying to say, that I got cancer? Or, she says, "Well, it could be a multiple myeloma or a different kind of type of blood cancer, but this bone marrow biopsy will tell us." And so, sure enough, that ended up to be a kappa light chain disorder. And so I ended up doing 2 years of chemo,
in San Diego.
Yes. That at this point, that halted my going back and forth to Nashville. Plus, when you're doing chemo, it kills off your immune system.
Right.
So they didn't want you to. She said, "I don't care so much about you being on an airplane, but I don't want you in an airport because an airport in a plane they scrub the air every 3 seconds, and an airport is one big germ pit.
Yep.
And so." They didn't want me anywhere in crowds, and I basically stayed at home for
You were
couple
pretty much
years.
you were either at home or getting treatments
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yep.
No
And then-
playing.
yeah, I didn't have the energy to hardly play once I started the chemo. That robs you
Right.
of years of life, So I did 2 years of chemo and 9 months of immunotherapy, which did everything that they wanted the chemo to do and didn't do. And so the immunotherapy, but the first 4-5 months of that was, pretty much as brutal as the chemo. Just wasn't until the treatments got to be once a month that I started getting some energy back and feeling a little bit like my old self. And I'm still getting there now.
Well, but because you just completed the treatments last year, right?
I've been declared in remission. Actually, this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And I will say that by the world standards, this disease, it was a combination of two things, but it was so rare that besides me, there's only 2 other reported cases of it ever.
Wow.
And so by the world standards, you should be pretty freaked out about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never was. I just had the peace of God so strong in my heart. And, Jehovah Rophe, he says, I'm the Lord God that heals you. I put no sickness on you. I keep you free from every disease. And Jesus carried your sicknesses, therefore you don't have to carry them. And by his stripes, I'm healed. So I had my heart persuaded in that, and I was just never worried about it. And that's pretty incredible.
I'm glad it worked out.
Me too.
I'm so glad it worked out.
And I'm starting to get a few gigs here and there, and do a few sessions here and there, and I'm trying to play catch up. I mean, for 3 years I didn't hardly do anything, and so I can really tell, especially playing guitar and rack harp, I just didn't have the energy to do it. And now I always used to say when I'm playing a lot, it's like one guy doing this unison guitar and harp melodies together.
Right.
If I'm playing a lot, it's like one guy. If I'm not playing quite as much, it's like 2 guys. It's like Dickie and Dwayne playing parts together.
Right.
Pretty good most of the time. But in my case, it's like 2 guys that never met. What in the heck? Who are you?
Now,
And so I'm working at that, just I'm getting back in the saddle.
you wrapped up your treatments in San Diego, and
Yep.
Eloise retired.
She took her retirement, and we've relocated. We're back in our house in Nashville. Now,
except that
she's back there right now.
she's back in San Diego working again.
They ended up hiring the wrong people to replace her and her sister. And so they called her up and says, hey, are you interested in coming back and helping us straighten this mess out? And so she's doing that right now.
And you're going back there
I'm going
too.
back there Tuesday.
And
next
both of
Tuesday.
you are going to be staying with our good old friend Roscoe Cooper.
Yeah. I'll say this about Roscoe. The lease on our condo, we'd been leasing from this condo for 13 years. And the lease on our condo was up like the 1st of May. And Eloise's last day of work was going to be the 3rd of July. So we call our landlord and say, hey, we're going to be relocating back to Nashville. So, we can't sign another year lease. Can we just for a couple months, can we just go month to month? And they said, absolutely not. And I thought, we've been leasing from you for 13 years and you can't even. I mean, I was, with all the Christian love I could muster, I'm ready to crank out that middle one, you know. And I was talking to Roscoe about something else, and I mentioned that. I said, so I'm not sure what we're going to do. He said, well, come stay with us. In fact, we want you to come stay with us. In fact, you're coming to stay with us. No questions. Okay. So we did that, and that's been a real blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thing.
Now, full disclosure, I have been working for Roscoe for going on 3 years, 3.5 years, making videos for all of his.
Yeah.
He writes patents.
Yes.
As a company called Channel Islands, and that there's been a lot of talk of selling that company, and that's all in the works and all that, and we're all going to be able to retire from that. I retired, from my job in 23 and moved here to this lovely, what I call second paradise.
Yes.
And, in the Smoky Mountains. You love the view from here, don't you? It's great. Isn't it beautiful up here? Yeah. And so that'll be my, second ship coming in when the company gets sold. And we're looking forward to that because it's been a long time coming. We thought it would take a year, and now we're about 3.5 years into it.
Yeah.
But so Roscoe, and what's his wife's name?
Lorette.
Lorette. I have not met Lorette. I've never met Lorette. But yeah. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah.
Does that bring us up to date?
Pretty good. I'm thinking.
Why don't you take a minute and talk about some of the people that you have ended up playing with, like albums you played on, shows you played in, stuff that of note.
My friend Jock Bartley. Jock was a founding member of the group Firefall.
Oh yeah, remember that. And, You Are the Woman.
Yep.
Yep.
And Strange Way to. That's a strange
way. Yeah, two very, very different songs. Yeah. Same band.
And so Jock calls me and said, "I'm doing a show. It's a fundraiser for suicide prevention, and we're going to do it at the Bluebird Cafe. Why don't you be in the band for it?" So we ended up getting to play with Michael McDonald. And man, I remember us in the Free Fare truck. I remember the first time we heard "What a Fool Believes."
Yep. Oh yeah.
And so, and we did 2 of those shows, so I've gotten to play with them a few times. But there's a big difference from hearing that voice on the radio, and then all of a sudden you're on stage and you hear that voice right next to you, and the hair on your arms stands up.
Absolutely.
He's such a unique, incredible singer.
Such a neat, humble guy too.
Oh, this is a great story. There's a guy, kind of a country blues singer. I think he had probably one big hit called Midnight Holler, and it was on country radio in the early 80s. And the guy that had that song was a guy named Razzie Bailey, and he ended up being on this show. And so we did sound check, and we're standing there talking, and I was talking with Michael, and Razzie Bailey walks up and says, "Hey, what's your name again?" And Michael goes, "Mike." And Razzie said, "Well, hey, you sounded pretty good." And he just said, "Oh, thanks, man." He could have said, "What? You don't know I'm Michael McDonald?"
No.
It was just so nice to see that happen.
It was probably a year or 2 ago. Michael McDonald did an interview with Rick Beato on YouTube, and it's just so awesome.
Yeah,
so awesome. Such a neat guy. Yeah, so humble.
Another Rick Beato did interview with Michael Amardian.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah.
And Michael Amardian played on my Heart of Clay CD, played on 9 songs. I went to his studio And
he went through a series of doing stuff like Michael Omartian. He did Christopher Cross.
yes,
Who, was Christopher
and
Cross
Omartian
and Michael
produced that.
Omartian. Right.
Got a Grammy for it.
Right. And Donald Fagen.
Yes.
And Skunk Baxter. And just he's going through this string of people, and I was constantly looking up Rick Beato's channel, saying who's next, because these are awesome interviews, absolutely awesome.
Tell you a funny story. When I was in San Diego, we were going to this church at Rancho Bernardo, and I started playing with the worship team, and they were all talking about Jeff Baxter. I said. Well, he would know me as a shooting guy, and they're all looking at me like, you know him? And he did one of the Louise Mandrell celebrity shoots.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, I was on the pro staff for high-vis sight systems, and I helped him get some high-vis sights for his handguns. And so next NAMM show I was at, I'm walking along, and all of a sudden, this guy comes up to me, hey, man, I appreciate you helping me get, and it was Jeff. And he was a big handgun guy. And he does consulting for the government. And for,
you're talking like the CIA and stuff? Oh, my goodness.
But that's not accurate, but something like that,
Okay.
But they thought that was just crazy. You know him, or he knows you, and as a shooting guy,
yeah,
it had nothing to do with music,
Mm-hmm. Well,
unfortunately.
Is there anybody else you played with that you wanted to throw out there?
Another guy that we ended up playing at the Bluebird with was Steve Winwood.
Oh, nice.
And the cool thing, and I got a picture of this. I got a picture playing with Michael, but also Steve. And so he got up and played Can't Find My Way Home on acoustic guitar. And then Michael, who I'm set over by the keyboard thing, so I got to be right next to where he was. And then Michael says, Stevie, I think there's a whole room full of people that would get really upset with you if you didn't come over here and do Give Me Some Love.
Yeah.
Because Winwood was 16 years old when he was the lead singer in the Spencer Davis Group.
Spencer Davis Group, right.
Okay. Well, that song goes, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, da, 4 times, then, da, that's da-da-da-da-da, that's 4/5 draw on the harmonica.
Yeah.
And so I let him do that lick, and then I twinned the second one with him.
Yeah.
And he's playing, he turns around and looks at me and kind of winks.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And and then the next time I saw him, he was, I was one of the guys at our Nashville Gun Club that when they were doing just corporate stuff, they would have me be one of the guys that would take a squad through the gang, through the course, and sometimes they would just have you on a station.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden this team comes through. This guy walks in the booth and he's getting ready. I'm getting ready to throw targets for him. And I look at him and said, "You're Steve Winwood." I said, "Man, I got to play with you one time at the Bluebird Cafe."
That's great. That's great.
And he's just kind of looking at me.
Yeah. Okay, last call. Anybody else you want to throw in the mix there?
I was thinking in the Carols by Candlelight Band, man, we got to back up B.J. Thomas.
Oh, wow.
America. And I didn't. America didn't have any harmonica on their stuff. And this was the first year I was doing the show. And so the band leader was still kind of like, well, we need to kind of keep the stuff pretty close to the way it was recorded so there's no surprises for them.
Right.
So it didn't look like I was going to get to do anything with America. And the acoustic guitar, or one of the guitar players says, "Man, when we do A Horse with No Name, just come over and play my 12-string on it. It'll be plugged in."
The song with 2 chords.
Yes, and I learned that song when I was a freshman in high school.
I play it all the time.
And here I got video footage of me playing Horse with No Name
That's great.
with America.
That's great.
And so that was cool.
Yeah.
And my wife and I have a cousin that lives in San Diego area. They were there in the balcony, and they were just like kind of talking, not paying attention. And Horse with No Name kicks in, and my cousin goes, "Look, TJ's down there with them, and he's playing guitar." and my wife says, "You looked so happy."
Well, sure. Who wouldn't be?
Who wouldn't be?
It's America. Yeah, I play that one, and I play. You remember the song "I Need You"?
I need you,
Yeah,
like the flower
need
needs
the rain. Yeah, it's one of my
you.
favorites. One
Yep.
of my favorites. Yeah.
And so Colin Ray got the Richie McDonald from Lone Star. Lone Star did the show. Now we didn't play with them, but they were warming up vocally. And I'm walking in the hallway and happen to walk past their dressing room, and they saw me stick my head in and listen. They say, "Hey man, come on in." And Richie's just sitting there by the piano, and he says, "Come on over here." And so he kicks into Desperado. Well, I've recorded Desperado on my Heart of Clay CD, and we get to the chorus, and I just jumped in, sang harmony with him.
Mm-hmm.
And singing with Richie McDonald from Lone Star is quite the thing. I'll never forget that.
Thrilling.
Yeah. Tim Flannery. I get the first couple of years I was out there, I did quite a few shows with him. Tim Flannery played third bass for the San Diego Padres.
Oh, yeah.
Came back as a third base coach. And this was when Bruce Bochy was head coach. Bruce Bochy gets fired. When a head coach gets fired, all the other coaches under him get canned as well. Bochy goes to the San Francisco Giants and takes one coach with him, Tim Flannery, as third base coach. And in 5 years, they won 3 World Series. So Flannery has 3 World Series rings as a third base coach. Tim Flannery also writes songs like Jackson Browne. Great songwriter. And probably my favorite writer that I got to play with the whole time that I was in San Diego. And he actually lives on a parcel of land on Hollister Ranch. And I'm not sure how close his next door neighbor is on this place. It might be about a mile or a mile. I don't think it's any more than 2 miles, but his next door neighbor is Jackson Browne.
Oh, wow.
But anyhow,
all I ever got was Wade Boggs. I was playing with my cover band at a beach bar in St. Pete Beach, actually Treasure Island, Caddies.
Yeah. And
Wade Boggs comes up on stage and he gets my guitar player's ear. What? He said, "Wade Boggs wants to sing a song." So, of course, what do you think he sang? Yeah, any clue what he sang? Anybody? What is the greatest Southern rock hit of all time? Sweet Home Alabama. And he was drunk as a skunk. And he barely kept from falling off the stage. And, of course, he couldn't sing. But that was it. That was Wade Boggs singing with the band I was with at that time. That was about 6 years ago.
Hey, we got time for a couple quick stories yet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I used to play a bit with a songwriter named Dean Dillon, who Dean and Hank Cochran, George Strait doesn't record a record without putting a bunch of Dean Dillon songs on it.
Okay.
So Dean Dillon's writing partner, Hank Cochran, the late Hank Cochran, invites me to go with them. He says, "We're taking a bus to Memphis tomorrow, and we're going to play at a benefit for Johnny Paycheck because he's in prison." So we get down there, and this guy says, "Have you ever met Jerry Lee Lewis?" I says, no. He says, would you like to play with him tonight? I says, well, yeah. So he says, I'll take you down to Jerry's room. And so we go down there and we go in there and he introduces us. And, you don't want to say, you don't know if you should call him Jerry or Jerry Lee or Mr. Lee or,
Yeah.
So it all feels awkward. But I said, hey, I'm a harmonica player and I'd be real honored to maybe get to sit in with you on a song if it's all right. And he just goes, well, hell, just get up there and do the whole show. So we do that. And the bass player says, don't get between me and Jerry Lee, because when he stops, I have to see him and stop right with him.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'll get fired.
Great balls of fire.
And I said, well, why is he going to stop? And he goes, well, he's Jerry Lee. He can stop if he wants to. And apparently he'd just be doing, no. And if you didn't stop right with him, you'd get fired. So we're doing great balls of fire. Just about everything we played was in the key of G, and it all felt the same, but it felt like $1 million.
Yeah.
Because it had that magic of the shuffle and the straight eights happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's what made that tension. It's what made all that old rock stuff feel so great.
Right, Chuck Berry did that. That's Johnny B. Good. That's what that was.
Yeah.
That was it was a shuffle that was put to straight 4. And that was basically the moment that created rock and roll. And the other guys picked up on it and they were off to the races.
So we're doing great balls of fire. Feels like $1 million. He gives his guitar player, who also played fiddle, Kenny Loveless, solo. Then he looks at me and hands me a solo. So being the good showcase guy, I take a step forward and I'm not jumping around and going crazy, but I'm getting into it. Next, he takes the next solo. And here's what the ending goes like. Turns to me and says, son, you play that thing real fine, but you don't got to do all that jumping around and shit. You're going to steal my show. Next song. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was doing anything.
Well, and folks, when you come from an entertainment background, you're going to put on a good show, unless Jerry Lee Lewis tells you not to.
And, I'll mention one last guy. I had the good fortune of, when I was doing my Heart of Clay CD, Richie Furay, founding member of Buffalo Springfield, Poco, Souther Hillman Furay Band, sang on 3 songs with me. The same songs, Stephen Weinmeister from Firefall was the other harmony singer on those same songs. And when I was in Western Flyer, we used to play out in Colorado a lot. And so Al Perkins, who played on the Souther Hillman Furay stuff, I've become good friends. Al's played on a couple of my CDs, and so he kind of got me introduced to Richie, and so I've played live with Richie a bunch. He passed after Souther Hillman Furay Band. That's when he got saved, and he became a Calvary Chapel pastor for about 35 years. And so I had played at his church a number of times. And if I was in Colorado, I would always go by and play with his worship band. And but so getting to work with him, that's been a real treat as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I can imagine that would have been a lot of fun.
I mean, there's other people I can mention, but I think we're good.
Yeah, we've been at it for a while, but folks, you probably tell just from listening to the conversation that both TJ and I are Christians, and I just want to know if you have ever thought about where you came from and where you're going, and what does it all mean? Gee, I've been a Christian since a young man, and I know you have too, TJ. You were raised in a Christian home.
I was.
Yeah, church and the whole 9 yards. But if you ever want to know what does it take to be a Christian, it's basically just like this. Bow your head and you say these words: Father God, I know I'm a sinner. I know that I am imperfect in your perfect universe. And I know that I am separated from you because of this. Father God, I also know that you had a son who was fully God, and you sent him to this earth to be fully man and to teach us how to live, to teach us the rules, to teach us the laws, your ways, and teach us how to live. And I know that at the end of that life, that he died and took the blame on himself for all of our mistakes, all of our sin, all of our iniquity. And in doing so, all we have to do is believe that he made that sacrifice for us and understand that he didn't remain in that grave. He was raised up 3 days later, and then he went up and ascended to heaven and sits at your right hand along with the Holy Spirit, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I pray right now that you send that Holy Spirit to me and that you show me your plan for my life. I believe in you. I have faith in you. And I want to thank you so much for saving me and giving me a way to make my way to paradise at the end of this life. Thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name, amen. Now,
Amen.
Did you do that? Will you do that? It's a great way to know that your life, your soul is secured for eternity. And I know that TJ's with me on that, and that we've all had blessed lives. We've both had very blessed lives, and wanting for nothing at this point.
Yeah.
And it's I think we're both very, very excited to finally go to the final destination, but while we're here, the one thing we can do is we can share Jesus Christ with other people. And that's, you and I were both taught that through our great mentor, the great president of Young American Showcase, Lowell Lytle, who I don't think ever met a man that he didn't share the good news of Jesus Christ with. Yeah. And because he came from that, that kind of Billy Graham background, where you always got to make sure you're sharing the gospel with people, because that's what we're supposed to do as Christians.
One thing to think about is if you don't make time in your life for God, you'll get in eternity, you get exactly what you wanted. An eternity without God. And you don't want that.
Absolutely right. And I would ask you to, if you are just now becoming a Christian, to make sure you get yourself just get a little pocket New Testament. Get something that has God's word in it, where you can read that and study it, and hopefully in the common English language, not all the these and thous. So that's all out there, and it's all good, and you can get that. If you'd like to talk more about that, you can talk about it with me. You can reach me at my email, which is stanarthur@gmail.com. You can write me an email. Let me know what you think of the show. Any suggestions you might have. Maybe you're somebody who would like to appear on this show. You can talk to me about that as well. Anything that's on your mind. But one more thing I want to mention is that just in the short term, if you are someone who, or someone who is struggling through very, very hard times, deep depression, not maybe even wanting to continue living, remember that there is a nationwide hotline for that you can call right now and talk to somebody right now who will help you through that period. And the number is 988. And as I like to say, call 988 before it's too late. And God bless you. And I hope that y'all are enjoying this show. You have enjoyed it. TJ, did you have a good time?
Oh, I had a great time.
Yeah, we got
It's really going down memory lane in a lot of respects, a lot of good ones.
Maybe sometime you can come back again and we can talk about some of the road stories we have.
Deal.
From Canada, from Pennsylvania. Oh, man. We could tell some funny stories. At least they'd be funny to us. But I want to thank you all for joining me today with TJ Klay. And man, it's just been a great time. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.